Modules 9 and 10, Parallelism. There are 4 rules of parallelism that we're going to be looking at in this video. Rule number 1, make sure that each item in a list of words or word groups, is the same grammatically. Let's look at a few examples. First, he is witty, intelligent, and has lots of energy. Witty is an adjective. Intelligent is an adjective. And has lots of energy includes a verb, a noun, and a prepositional phrase. This list is out of parallel. The third item does not match the first 2. We would have to change the third item and make it an adjective. Here's a correct sentence. This list is in parallel. He is witty, adjective. Intelligent, adjective. And energetic, adjective. A second example. John likes skiing, sledding, and to skate. Again, this list is out of parallel. Skiing is an activity. In this case, it sounds like it's a verb, but it's actually a noun. It's a gerund. So we have a gerund. Sledding, another activity, a gerund. And to skate, which is an infinitive form of the verb to skate. So the third item, again, doesn't match the first 2. We would have to change the third item here and make it an infinitive. So John likes skiing, sledding, and skating. Here the list includes 3 gerunds. So this list is now in parallel. We could make every item in the list an infinitive, and that's what we've done in the last 2 examples on this page. John likes to ski, to sled, and to skate. Each item is the same grammatically. They're all infinitives. Essentially, that's what we've done in the last sentence. John likes to ski, sled, skate. In this case, we've taken a shortcut. To applies to each one, each item in the list. They're essentially all infinitives. Third example, conclude this essay with a summary of the main points or by asking a question. Here, we have 2 items in the list that are separated, actually joined, by a coordinating conjunction. And, so the 2 items are with a summary of main points and by asking a question. These 2 items are not in parallel. The first item, with the summary of the main points, we have 2 prepositional phrases. In the second item in this list, by asking a question, is a verbal phrase. If you're having trouble identifying prepositional phrases and verbal phrases, you might want to go and review the parts of a sentence video. But notice the verbal phrase has a preposition at the beginning, it has an object to the preposition at the end, but in the phrase is also a verb. So this list is out of parallel. They both have to be either prepositional phrases or both verbal phrases. So let's fix this sentence. Conclude this essay with a summary of the main points or with a question. Here, this is correct. This list of 2 items is in parallel. We have a prepositional phrase with a summary and of the main points, 2 prepositional phrases actually, and with a question. The second item in this list of 2 items is also a prepositional phrase. What we've done in the last example is we have used the word with before both items to apply to each item. So conclude this essay with 1, a summary, which is an object of the preposition with, and conclude this essay with a question, which is an object, again, of the preposition with. So we have an object. The first item is an object, the second item is an object. So they're both objects. So both items in the list are the same grammatically. this list also is in parallel. Rule number 2 of parallelism. When using joining words are words such as either and or, neither and nor, and not only but also. When you use those types of words, make sure that the word groups that follow each joining word match grammatically. In other words, if either is in the sentence with a group of words after it, followed by or, which has a group of words after it, the words that follow either must match grammatically with the words that follow or. Let's look at some examples. Either you finish the report Friday or work Saturday. So we have joining words. Let's look at the words that follow each joining word. First, you finish the report Friday. Here we have a subject, you, and a verb, finish. After or, we don't have a subject, but we have a verb. Therefore, this list is out of parallel. We need a subject after or to match the word group that comes after either. So let's fix this. Either you finish the report Friday or you work Saturday. So here, again, we have a subject after either and a verb, you finish, and after or, now we have a subject, you, and a verb, work. This list is now in parallel. Rule number 3, when making comparisons, make sure both items that are being compared match in grammatical form. Example, you are better off jogging to work than to skip lunch. So what's being compared here? Well, you're better off, 1, jogging, which is a gerund, a noun, an activity, and it's being compared to skip, which is an infinitive. So this list, the items being compared do not match in terms of grammatical structure. Okay, so let's make sure that these two items that are being compared match in grammatical structure. You're better off, 1, jogging to work than skipping lunch. So instead of to skip, we've changed it to skipping. So now both are gerunds. They are both nouns. They're both activities. So the items being compared are in parallel. They both match in terms of grammatical structure. Rule number 4, again, when making comparisons, now make sure that both items match in meaning or are of equal weight. In other words, make sure the comparison seems logical. Make sure it's not an absurd comparison. Let's look at an absurd comparison, something that is considered out of parallel. Bob's suit costs much more than his brother. Here, Bob's suit, an item, a suit, is being compared to a person, his brother. It's an absurd comparison. It's considered out of parallel. So we're not talking grammatical structure here. We're talking meaning. So it's a little bit different than the other 3 rules. Let's fix this sentence. Bob's suit costs much more than his brother's suit. Now we're comparing item to item, suit to suit. Another way you could, so that is in parallel. Another way you could write this sentence is, if you want to just shorten it a little bit, take a shortcut. Bob's suit costs much more than his brother's. So we've got the suit being compared to his brother's. And we assume that the word suit is in there because of the apostrophe S, the possessive apostrophe use. So in summary, be sure that whether you're listing items or comparing items, make sure that each item in the list, that all the items in the list match in grammatical form.